This conference will now be recorded.
And Andra, I think you can take it away.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Janine, if you want to go ahead and bring up the presentation. Welcome back to our first virtual student chapter webinar of the new school year. We've had, of course, a couple months off this summer, though we did have our student forum, and thank those who participated in that. Just as I mentioned in chat, my name is Andra Clapsaddle. I'm the chair of the virtual student chapter. Today we have a webinar on positioning for job success. Next slide, please. I think everyone's familiar with this. If you're not actively speaking, please mute your phones and computers. And we've got the chat going for questions. As our presenter, Jeff Robson, speaks today, we'll keep everybody in listen-only mode. And as Janine mentioned, we are recording this, and it will be available for future use by anybody who is interested in watching it or showing it at one of your student chapters or for your own personal use. So with that, next slide. Okay, and as I mentioned, I'm the chair of the virtual student chapter. And Janine, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Janine Fenton. I work at SAME headquarters. I am the STEM coordinator for the organization, which takes me working with people kindergarten through college.
Wonderful. Okay, and next slide. We'll be introducing our speaker for today. As I mentioned, Jeff Robson. He's the senior lead recruiter for Michael Baker, which is a firm when I was in the Air Force was one of the first ones I remember working with a long time ago. We won't say how long. But so it's has an extensive background and resume in recruiting. So we really appreciate you coming here today to talk to our virtual student chapter and give some tools and tips on how a recruiter works and what students should be doing to posture themselves not just for future employment, but for internships and other things of value. And we have here Jeff's fun facts, which I love because, you know, well, who doesn't love wine and eating, I guess, right? So now your culinary degree, just real quick, where is that from?
It was from a school back in Nebraska. I went to the University of Nebraska for my bachelor's degree, but yeah, there was a small school out in Hastings, Nebraska that I got the culinary degree from there. So yeah.
All right, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And a trained sommelier.
Yeah.
Love that as well. I myself am an executive bourbon steward, so that's
Are you really? Oh, very good.
fun fact that I'll just throw out. That
yeah.
And then of course love Europe. So wonderful. It's really glad to have you here today, and again appreciate that. And so again, just a reminder for everybody to mute, and we'll go ahead and let Jeff start. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Just need to share the screen here with y'all. Just bear with me a second. It looks like we're there. So start this up. Okay. Well, again, my name is Jeff Robson. I'm the senior recruiting leader here at Michael Baker International, and so I'll do a little introduction of myself and just a tad about Michael Baker here in a couple of slides. But you know, first off, just thank you for having me. Really appreciate being able to speak to you all, and thank you to Andra and Janine for coordinating this and putting this all together. So very much appreciated. So you know, as my slide here says, you know, today's topic is going to be on positioning yourself for job search success. And you know, it's a broad topic. I could probably spend hours on this, or I could probably spend hours just on like resume building and things like that. But So we're going to hit some highlights and give you some tips along the way on, again, how to position yourself, for success there. So it's, fun topic, and I think hopefully everybody will get certainly something out of it here. So, and at the end of the presentation, we'll open it up for some questions, and I'll also give you my contact information if if you have some further questions or some follow-up, or you want some personal advice on the side. I'm certainly open to that. So so I'll give you all that information, and feel free to reach out to me. But okay, well, with that said, we'll go ahead and dig in here. I need to minimize this here real quick. Whoops. Okay. Well, one of my favorite quotes is ahead of you here. It says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us," as Ralph Waldo Emerson. So, and I think it kind of speaks to the topic here today. The past is the past. What we've done is past. But and what lies ahead of us. We can control to a certain extent. There's some things that we can't, but it really, what matters is what's inside of us and how we position ourselves in the here and the now. Okay, and really, positioning ourselves for the future and for success. So so that's, I like the quote, and I'm a quote kind of person anyhow. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. So moving on. Let's see here. We seem to be stuck here. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot, Janine, I seem to be kind of stuck here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Janine, why don't you take back presenter mode, and then see if it'll allow him to present again.
Okay.
Not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to,
Here, I can do it.
okay.
Okay, all right, Jeff, I'm going to give you back presenter control.
Okay. Share my.
Unless it's the PowerPoint application that's frozen.
That could be. Let's see here if that helps here. Okay. I think we're up and running here again. So sorry about that.
We're not seeing your slides, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
We're not seeing the slides. We're seeing just your desktop window with the blue screen in the back.
Okay.
Are you using two monitors?
I am actually here, so.
Okay, I think it's just pointing to the opposite monitor. So either slide over the PowerPoint to the monitor that's shown, or switch out to the other monitor.
Yeah, let's do it this way.
If push comes to shove, I've got the presentation, and you can just tell me to, advance the slides.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
Yes, we're in speaker mode.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to go?
Yes, we're seeing an agenda slide.
Okay, very good. That's what we wanted. So, all right, so I'm sorry about that. All right, so the agenda for today, again, I'm just going to do a quick introduction of who I am and the company I work for. And then we're going to go into what employers look for, some soft skills and things, besides the technical requirements of a position. The next topic will be You Incorporated. This is a slide essentially about branding, marketing yourself, and just kind of positioning yourself again for success. The next topic will be Leaving Nothing to Chance. So we're going to touch upon some resume building and interview skills, necessary things for success there, obviously. Intentional outreach. We're going to run through some of the avenues that you can take regarding finding opportunities, and just again kind of what are some of the things that you can do there. So and then lastly, we'll go over some mindset things. Again, I think probably one of the most important aspects to a job search is what's inside and what's in your head, the mindset. So it's very important. So we'll finish with that. So without further ado, we'll do a quick introduction here. So again, as Andre had mentioned there, I am the senior recruiting leader for Michael Baker International, or one of the senior recruiting leaders here. So I essentially manage the southern region for Michael Baker, which is basically Florida, where I'm at. I'm in kind of the Sarasota, Bradenton area, just south of Tampa. And so Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, all the way over to Texas is my territory. So it's a rather large region there. So, but so I've got roughly about 20 or over 20 years of experience in talent acquisition, and all of that pretty much within the AEC industry, so the architectural engineering and construction industry. So besides Michael Baker, I worked for AECOM for about 13 years, a combination of AECOM and URS. Dewberry, which is in the DC area, I worked for them for about 3 years. And Arcadis is another one that I worked for. So pretty much, within that AEC industry. I've done everything in recruiting from A to Z, whatever you can think of. I've implemented recruiting functions. I've ran college recruiting programs. I've held leadership roles on both the regional and national levels. So pretty much everything in recruiting. I've got a Bachelor of Science degree in Natural Resource Management from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And yes, I'm a Husker, so I'm proud of it. And so you might ask how I got from natural resource management into recruiting. That's a long story, but essentially, I was in the environmental business for a number of years, and just love the people side of things. And one of my best friends was a recruiter for a large firm, and kind of got me interested in it, and it's like, yeah, I want to do that, and so but I wanted to stay within the environmental field. So at the time, URS, this was in Denver, and URS Corporation had a large environmental practice. And so they had a position open for a recruiter. It was a newly created position. So I applied and got it, and kind of the rest is history there. So so I've always kind of stayed within, environmental, then kind of the engineering side of things there. So it's been a nice marriage for me there, and I really have enjoyed my career and being close to the projects that we do. And so also a little bit about me. I'm a veteran. I served in the U.S. Army for 8 years, and as mentioned, I'm kind of just south of Tampa. I currently reside in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. One of the fastest growing areas in the United States. So I enjoy travel, hiking, golf, cooking, as we heard earlier. So, you know, my wife is from Slovakia, as Andre mentioned there and earlier, and so we traveled to Europe quite a bit, and so that's always fun. Michael Baker International, just real quick, we are a engineering consulting firm, global leader in you know, engineering, architecture, consulting, 80 plus years in the business. Celebrated our 80th anniversary just last year, and you know, so we're based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a very reputable company, and you know, a lot of expertise. We have over 3,000 employees and 100 plus locations, pretty much every location that you can, or major metropolitan area that you can think of here in the U.S. So we do large infrastructure stuff. So, you know, bridges, the picture here on the screen is the Winona Bridge. It's that spans the Mississippi River from Winona, Minnesota over to, I think it's the Cross area in Wisconsin. So one of the bridges that we've designed. So and Michael Baker really got their start in bridges many, you know, 80 plus years ago. That was their thing, and we are still like a top 5 bridge design firm in the United States here. So, but we do other things. We do highways, roadway. We do water, wastewater treatment facilities. We buildings, and we have a strong aviation practice. So we build you know, runways and taxiways and terminals for airports, and so we're very very diverse in what we do. We serve the, you know, federal, state, local governments, and a wide array of commercial clients as well. So there's a link to our website there, our career site, if anybody's interested in checking us out further. We have, I think close to 400 positions open currently throughout the U.S. So great place to work. All right, well, let's get into the meat of it here. So wanted to start off with and consider yourself your own corporation. Okay, before you start out on a job search here, it's called You Incorporated. All right, and having your own firm, just like any other firm, you know, you've got to have a brand, right? You need to know what you're all about so you can sell yourself. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So you need to figure out, you know, take an inventory of your interest, your passions, your personal characteristics, your strengths and weaknesses, and just get to know who you are, you know, before you can start anything like that. So and hopefully most of you already kind of know that, but I think it's important to kind of take that inventory every now and then, and just you know, remind yourself of what you're all about. Okay, and so I think it's really I think it's really important just to have that core, you know, the core values, the foundation of values listed, and so that you can move forward. So, you know, I think it's important to you, you know, in terms of the work and your personal life, to understand that. And it kind of comes down to a balance there, right? So I often refer to 7 areas of life, and not to go too deep into this here, because I know we're talking about careers, but I think it's important just to note that you know, besides your career, that's just one aspect of your life, right? So you got your family life, your social life, your physical, or your fitness and health life, financial, spiritual life, whatever that is for you, and personal development. And I think it's important to make deposits in each of those areas on a daily basis, and it just makes you well-rounded, and will, you know, overall make you a successful person. Okay. So other considerations, when you're kind of putting together You Incorporated, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be physically? I've had opportunities in my life where, I graduated from Lincoln, or from University of Nebraska in Lincoln there, and my goal was to move to Denver, Colorado. I wanted to be close to the mountains, and just love the outdoors out there. So it was my goal. So I set out to do that, and I did. And I've made a number of pretty large moves. From there, we moved to Washington, D.C. area, and we lived out there for about 10 years. So those are just things to kind of consider in putting together the whole package. So it's very, very important, I think. And putting together those short-term and long-term goals, having an end game in mind. Make sure you have that in writing. Very important, with timelines, and because I have goals. I have kind of 1 year goals, and I have a 3 year goals, and I have 5 year goals. And I write it down, and I have it in my office. I post it up on the wall, and I review that from time to time, see where I'm at. I think if you don't have them written down, you lose track, and it's hard to stick with it. So I think it's important, and not only for your career, but also in all 7 areas that I mentioned, the 7 areas of life here. I think it's important to have those goals. So essentially, take responsibility for where you are, and where you want to be. Be authentic. That's huge. I mean, when you're putting together your company here, You Incorporated, make sure that you're true to yourself. Okay, your responsibility and source of real freedom is to discover really who you are, and like I mentioned here, and lead with your unique talents and personalities, and make sure that comes out when you're putting together your resume, and when you're interviewing. Okay, so just be authentic, be yourself. And that could change over time. I'm telling you, I'm not the same person as I was when I was 20 years old or 25 years old. We're continually being shaped by our experiences, our travels, and people we meet. And I tell you, I learn things about myself all the time, which is, I'm 50 some years old now, so I'm still learning things about myself. So it's, but a lot of you are college age, and you're just starting out. So, but just keep that in mind, and as I mentioned at the top of the slide here, periodically do an inventory of your interests, your passions, and personal characteristics and stuff, because that could change. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. What employers are looking for. And these are some of the things as a recruiter here, and my hiring managers, we all look for, besides the technical aspects of a job. So, a lot of times with the engineering positions, we're looking for somebody with DOT experience, the Department of Transportation experience, AutoCAD, MicroStation, whatever. But there's a number of soft skills that I would say most employers are looking for out there that are going to contribute to your success, and things that you can work on in school and early in your career here. So communication skills, can't overstate that enough. That's probably number 1 on the list. We're consultants at Michael Baker, so we're continually getting in front of clients, different agencies. We talk to the public sometimes. and a number of different stakeholders. So, we've got to be able to communicate with them, as well as with our own teammates, our colleagues, and within the office, within the regions, and even nationally. That it's important to be able to communicate both verbally and written. So leadership skills. Not everybody wants to be a leader. I get that. But there's different types of leadership. Okay, so there's at Michael Baker, for example, we have more of a project management track and a technical track, and really kind of depends on what you want to do. So the project management track can lead to operations, being an office manager or a regional manager, or or CEO if you want at some point in time. The technical track, you might be more interested in just staying with that side of it, but and becoming an expertise in a certain area. We have technical, like what we call practice leaders here at Michael Baker, that are experts in, we'll say, water, or wastewater, or intelligent transportation, or whatever it might be. So they've risen to prominence in that area of their expertise, and our national practice leader. They're looked to for proposals and all kinds of things. So there's different levels of leadership, but when we're talking leadership skills, we're looking at energy and drive, that initiative and intuition, just to name a few there. So we always look for problem solvers. Most of you were probably in some kind of STEM program, I would think. Engineering, or science, technical engineering, math, but so they're probably in school teaching you how to solve problems, and so that's those are things that we look for: thought leaders, people who really can think through a problem and come up with solutions. Okay, we often look for people who are adaptable as far as the type of environment they work in. A lot of times you might be tasked with being they're doing some kind of independent role. We send people out in the field, they do testing for this or that, but then the next day you might come in and be part of a team, and collaborating on a project or whatnot. So it's being adaptable and being able to work in both of those environments is important, and just having that curiosity is important. Someone who wants to learn, asks good questions, and just hungry to learn. That's certainly something that we look for, and just being creative. I mean, our engineers and scientists here at Michael Baker and everywhere else I worked, they're smart people, but we're always looking for fresh ideas. So don't be afraid to speak up, make your ideas known, and just generally stand out. Going back to being authentic, being genuine. That's those sorts of things. I think it's important. So, at the bottom here, education is really kind of the foundation of your career that's going to be built upon here. But your personal traits, such as the communication skills and problem solving, coupled with that knowledge is going to determine your success. Okay, so can't stress that enough. All right. Moving on, leaving nothing to chance. So we're going to talk a little bit about resume building, some interview skills, and very, very important stuff before we dive into a full-fledged job search. So resumes, this is a resume is geared to get you an interview, okay? And that's it. But you got to sell yourself, okay? It can't be just a historical document, just a chronological order of jobs and things like that. This is when you sell you incorporated, okay? That's, like I said, it's a sales tool. So I would encourage you, if you can, get it professionally done, or at least critiqued by somebody who knows what they're talking about. Your schools, they all have career centers, and I would imagine they have someone there that can look at your resume, or maybe there's some industry partners out there that come in periodically to do resume critiques or mock interviews as well. So make sure you have several eyes on it, and that it's good quality. So okay, again, you're selling yourself as you incorporated. Make yourself stand out, okay? Put all the experience that you have on there. If you've had internships or a co-op, and yes, you need to get an internship. If you haven't had one yet, you need to get an internship or a co-op. It's very important, because when I'm looking at a resume, I go straight to internships, or like the next bullet down, the projects in school that you've had, either a senior capstone project, design project, whatever it might be. So if I'm talking to you at a career fair or on an interview, I'm going to ask you about what you did within that project or that internship. What did you work on? What was the problem? What was the outcome? And and what was your role? Okay. Did you hold a leadership position? Were you the PM on the project, or what? So again, not everybody's a leader. I get that, but if you've had some leadership roles in school, whether it's through SAME or ASCE or whatever organization there is that you're involved with, make sure you put that on your resume. And if you feel like you want to get into a leadership role, then do it. I mean, we do look at that. Those are important things. In the STEM program, I'm sure all of you have impeccable writing skills, or at least have done some writing in school there. So make sure you have some writing samples, because we may ask you for that. Okay. Particularly in the a technical field like we're in. So we need people who can write well. So make sure you have some samples of that. LinkedIn or a website. I would encourage everybody to have a LinkedIn profile. Just flat out, it's important for a number of reasons, and we'll get into that a little bit more here. But that, or you can create a website. I know a lot of architects coming out of school. They have their own website, and they have a portfolio of their work already on there that we can go to and take a look at, and we can share with our hiring managers. And so that's possibly another tool for you there, so to use. But LinkedIn, make sure you get on LinkedIn, and you can put some examples of your work on there, and make sure it's professional. That's important. So. And this kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it because I see it. I see it all the time. But when you send a resume out, always follow up. Make sure whoever you're sending that to tell them that, hey, I'm going to call you on Monday, okay, to discuss my resume further with you. So always follow up. I don't see that enough. So. And that's going to go with interviews too. Follow up after the interviews, and thank you notes. And I know that you'd be surprised. I probably 9 out of 10 interviews that I go through, they don't send thank you notes anymore. There's just no follow up. So you can put yourself ahead of everyone else if you just do some simple things like that. So keep that in mind. So moving on to interview skills. Again, go through your career center if you want, or through an industry partner through school, and do some mock interviews and practice your skills. Very important. I've seen it all out there, so trust me, and you can't practice this enough. So there's in-person interviews. Today we're seeing a lot of virtual interviews with the COVID situation, and that's a different dynamic for sure. We've made it work. We've hired people off of virtual interviews, through whether it was Teams or WebEx or Zoom. So we've done it, and but I will tell you, make sure that if you're doing a virtual interview, that it's professional. When it's an in-person one, you're going into an office. The environment's going to be fairly static. You're going to be in a conference room or an office of some sort. You're going to be in your suit and tie. But in a virtual interview, things can happen. And so I would encourage you to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. Make sure that there's nothing weird going on, okay? Or your phone is off. I was doing a career fair last week I won't name the school, but so I was interviewing a student, and in a course of 10 minutes, his cell phone went off like three times, and it was just very distracting. So just make sure that you keep it professional, okay? But there's not going to be any distractions or anything going on there. So have questions prepared for interviews. Again, last week, talking to some students, and I would ask them, hey, do you have any questions of me? And they're like, no, no, I think I'm good. Like, for me as a recruiter and my hiring manager as well, that's a red flag. So you've got to research your firms that you're talking to, the people that you're interviewing with, and have some questions for them, and just know that company that you're interviewing with, and go out on LinkedIn and find out who the interviewers are if you have that information ahead of time, and find some commonalities between you and the interviewers, something that you can talk about. So okay, again, follow up on the interview. Can't overstate that enough. One thing I think that would really help a lot of people is to develop 3 or 4 good stories to tell. Okay, so nowadays, I don't know how many of you have heard of behavioral-based interviewing, but behavioral-based interviews or questions are geared to bring out certain characteristics that we're looking for, whether it's it could be a number of things, like creativity or trust or integrity or whatever it might be. So we might ask you a question. So tell me about a time when you had to be creative. What did you do? What was the result? What did you learn from that? Or tell me about a time when you failed. Okay, that's always a good one. What did you learn from that? And those sorts of things. So I've developed over the years, like 3 or 4 good stories that I've experienced personally, and I could take that out of my back pocket and I can gear that to any question or anything that an interviewer is going to throw at me. Okay, so rather than sitting there just trying to think of an example when they throw that out, so you can probably just have 3 or 4 good stories, like I said, and just adapt that to the situation. Okay, so big tip there. I think that would help out a lot of people. And again, know your strengths, weaknesses, and be able to talk about it. Okay, goes back to knowing who you are, right? Okay, we'll move on here. Intentional outreach. So you got your resume, you got your interview skills all in line, all buttoned up, right? You're ready to get out there and hit the job search mode. So first and foremost, know what you want. Okay, have a game plan in mind, and be intentional about your outreach. And that's the whole crux of it here. Research the industry, companies, and that you're looking to target. When I moved to, for example, to the DC area from Denver, I didn't know that many people, but I knew I wanted to stay within the AEC industry, the engineering, environmental world there. So I specifically researched all the firms in the area and who's who, and research even some of the names within the companies, and reached out to them personally, and so it can be done. So that was a big move for me. That was moving across country, but I was pretty. That was my goal. I was pretty adamant about doing it, and so do your research, have a game plan in mind, and in any of this, do not just send resumes out blindly just to anything, and not follow up or take any action. You've got to take an active approach in your job search, and get at it. Okay, so get on LinkedIn and look up people, reach out, get introductions, network. That's just all so very important. Okay, taking that active approach. Most of you are in school, you got career fairs going on, definitely take part in that, whether it's in person or virtual again. And again, as I mentioned before, be professional and be prepared for those. So, but networking is just the biggest thing for you guys, and I can't stress that enough. And referrals. So, again, utilize every avenue that you can think of. Don't be afraid to ask. Okay, just reach out to people. Just ask. People love to talk about themselves, and if you just want to have an informational interview with somebody, do it. And people, like I said, people just love to talk about themselves, and you can ask them about how they got into the industry, or what's made them successful, what groups do they belong to, what any advice that they would give you and your job search and your career. So I think that would go a long way. Essentially, you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. Okay. I love that, by the way. But and when you're talking to people, be bold and confident in your communication with them. Okay, because that comes through. Avenues to take, I mentioned LinkedIn there, but utilize your professors, your advisors. Every school has an alumni network, right? Make sure you're connected with alumni. And you can go out on LinkedIn as well, and you can find alumni networks for your particular schools. And people love to help people from your school. And I've reached out to people from the University of Nebraska quite a few times, and for advice or help. And it definitely is a good thing to do. When you're out on LinkedIn, okay, there's professional or interest groups. If you would scroll down to the bottom of somebody's profile, if you go out to mine, for example, and then scroll down to the bottom of my profile under interest, I'm connected with I know probably 60, 70, maybe even 100 different interest groups there. Okay. I'm not active in all of them. As a recruiter, I kind of I do pretty much everything I can. But for you, you have your area of interest. There's all kinds of professional communities out there that you can join and start conversing with people and connecting with them. You can post some things out there on those communities and get yourself known. Okay, I think that would be really important for you. So also utilize the professional organizations like SAME for sure, or ASCE, or whatever you're involved with. So internships as well. If you're doing internships, make sure that you're connecting with those people that you're working with, and tap into their networks and just work that angle. Okay. All right, and last slide. I know we're probably running a little long here. I apologize, but mindset is really important here. As I mentioned before, make sure you take action. Okay. The world doesn't pay you for what you know, but for what you do. Great quote from Henry Ford. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do, right? You got to take action. It's got to be the here and the now. And that goes with the job search. You can't be complacent and just throw resumes out there. You've got to be in the game, and get yourself out there. All right. And sometimes, it's going through the job search. It can be scary, but don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do that sometimes. There are a couple really good quotes here. You can't sail to new lands unless you're willing to lose sight of the shore, right? Probably one of my favorite quotes ever is, fear is a reaction, courage is a decision. We can sit there in fear and be afraid to take action, but as a person who's courageous and makes a decision to do something, that person is going to move forward. Okay. But stay positive. You got to stay positive and have confidence and belief in yourself. You created, you incorporated, right? And you want to sell that product, which is you. So you've got to believe in yourself and see yourself in the career or the job of your dreams. Okay. So important to visualize that and know that you can do it. Interesting little statistic here. A recent Yale University study: 15% of the reason for a person's success is due to technical skill and knowledge, and 85% of the reason originates from that person's personal skill. Basically their mindset, okay, their attitude, their enthusiasm, their self-discipline and desire and ambition. Wow, I mean, that's 85%. That's a lot, but that's so important. Just having that mindset, that great attitude going into it, because in the end, I mean, no one cares about your success more than you do, right? It's all about you. So make sure you stay in the driver's seat and you're making it happen. And that's pretty much the end of my presentation there. And I don't know how much time we have for questions, but certainly open for a couple. And like I said, if we don't get to all of them, we can. I'm going to give you my contact information on the next slide. In fact, I'll just go to that. So you can jot that down. Feel free to get in touch with me. There's my cell number, my email address here at Michael Baker, and yeah, I'll be happy to talk with any of you, outside of this, and so. But any questions?
Yeah, Jeff, I'm not sure if you can see the chat over on the side. I know you've addressed some of these because Eddie put a couple in there. And given we want to give Janine a little bit of time to go over some of the SAME products as well. No, this has been great, fantastic information. One of the things I'm always curious about, though, is that follow-up. So nowadays, it's so common to get texts or emails and to not have the written note or even a phone call. Is it actually better for somebody to, I mean, if you got a written note from somebody, does that make that person stand out more than an email, or does it not really matter?
No, I don't think that matters. I think that what matters is just you reaching out. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that was back in the day. I would send thank you notes and things like that. But yeah, today, yeah, for sure. Emails or even a text message or something. It's better than nothing, right? So it's no, I don't think the mode of that really matters too much there. It's just the act of reaching out.
Of actually doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
I just got accepted to a program, and you don't even think about it. It's not even necessarily just interviews. It's anything that you correspond with somebody. The importance of just thanking them for their time and
absolutely.
thank you for your time. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So yeah. Yep.
All right, well, super. So Janine, I'll let you take it over for the last few minutes here, and show us what SAME has to offer our student members, because there is quite a bit out there for them to access. So we'll go ahead and switch over our presenter. And Jeff, thanks again for your time and for a great presentation.
My pleasure. I thank you guys again. So.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for taking your time. And we definitely had some other questions. Maybe we'll, circle back to you about some of these in a moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want, you can send those to me. I'll respond to them, and you can just distribute that if you want. Or
Okay, thanks. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah,
so
be happy to do that.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that SAME has that will also help to position you as a student for a job or an internship. And my agenda is to talk a little bit about things like the internship, scholarships, virtual student chapters. And in terms of internships on our website, that is something that is still under development, but we are getting contacted by some of our strategic members. They're asking us if we have an ability to post internships, and we've been asking them to give us information about some of the geographic areas where they're looking for internships. And it's our intention to send an email, a targeted email, to people in these geographic areas, alerting them to the possibility of internships. As far as scholarships goes, we do have a significant scholarship program. Most of this is done by the SAME posts, and so this is a post-specific offering. These posts can be posts near where you live or where you're going to school. So check out the SAME website for information about that. And the same thing with mentoring. A lot of our members are very interested in working with students and reaching out to them and saying, I'm interested, I'm in this area. this is the kind of engineering that I would like to go into. Do you have any suggestions? Just like Jeff was saying, people like to talk about themselves and they are very open to the idea of you approaching them.
Mm-hmm.
We have the virtual student chapter, and you're experiencing one of the benefits of the virtual student chapter right now. I will talk a little bit more in a moment. We have education, training, competition, communities of interest. And I would really like this to advance from my current slide. So the virtual student chapter provides professional development workshops and training webinars throughout the year. As you said, this is one of them. Any upcoming events will be posted on our college outreach webpage, and you can see the URL there. You can also access archived webinars, webinars that we have done in the past, and you just log in with your SAME membership in order to access them. We are creating a virtual student chapter, one where we would have the same kind of organizational structure, a chair, vice chair, committee members, things like that, for our many student members who are connected virtually rather than in person. So look for more details about that. And that's another opportunity for leadership. Some of the past webinars that we have that are archived are on topics like personal branding. We have resume writing, effective communication. There are things on leadership, such as a student leadership micro boot camp. And one of my favorites is Journey from the Front Line to the Back Lot Working at Disney. Because yes, engineers are the people who design things like roller coasters. SAME also provides a lot of educational opportunities that are available to students just as they're available to regular SAME members. And we do waive registration fees for our major conferences, such as Capital Week and what we call JETSI. JETSI will be in Denver in May of 2022. There's a facility management workshop and a small business conference coming up in Atlanta. Now, the small business conference is not small. There will be a couple of thousand people there. If you're in the Atlanta area in November, you would be well advised to attend that. But it will also be available in a hybrid format. So again, take advantage of the free membership, free registration that you have as an SAME student member. And it will take place November 15th through the 19th. The registration link is provided, samesbc.org. We also have another leadership opportunity with our Undergraduate Innovations Challenge. And this showcases the work done in senior capstone projects. So if you have a senior capstone project, you and a team of other students, you can enter this and you will be engaged in a competition. It is a national competition. The website will be updated shortly because October 1st is when submissions can begin to take place. You'll submit an abstract of 300 to 500 words. And further information about this is on the website, same.org/competitions. So you can find out exactly what needs to be in your abstract. We will then review the different abstracts and notify teams if they are eligible to advance to phase 2. I don't think that we had any teams last year that were not eligible to advance to phase 2. And in phase 2, you'll submit a PowerPoint presentation about your project. And it also needs to have a recorded narrative that goes along with it. But again, the details are available on the website. Eddie, I'm going to ask you if you want to pop in and talk a little bit about the 2021 awardees. These awardees were not only recognized with a $500 award, but they've also had the opportunity to present to some of the SAME technical communities of interest. So Eddie, are you there?
Yes, thanks, Janine. Also, I think I'm noticing some folks signing on, so it looks like we may have had some time zone issues. I just want to make a note that we did record this, so we'll send out a link to everybody that may be joining us a little later. I apologize for that. We'll figure out what happened. But as Janine was saying, the competition is a way for you to get in front of our industry members. We are about to announce the second round, and it's really an opportunity for you to submit projects you may already be working on through a senior design competition at your school or some sort of project based course that you might be taking. It's an open call for projects, so we're really interested to see what all you're working on. They go through a selection process of industry members that will be doing the reviewing, and then we're still working a recognition strategy that could include potentially presenting at our national conference in Denver in May. Otherwise, we will definitely be having our projects present in front of some of our technical committees. And an example there is our the first one on that list, Study of Sea Level Rise for Boston. They recently presented to the industry members as part of our that participate in our environmental community of interest. And the clean energy deer repellent, this is a deer vehicle collision system that they designed that can run on solar, will be presented to our energy community of interest in December. And those communities of interest are made up of industry members. So we're trying to provide a platform for you to market some of these ideas and see if there's any traction. Thanks, Janine.
Thanks, Eddie. As Eddie mentioned, some of these presentations will be made before some of the technical communities of interest that SAME has. And even as a student member, you're eligible to select as many communities of interest that you're interested in. So we have ones on architectural practice, energy and sustainability, environmental, facilities management, resilience, and of course, things that may not fall directly in your professional areas of interest, like K-12 STEM, college outreach, and young professionals. And you can select those as a part of your SAME membership. You would then be notified when they're having meetings. You can attend the meetings, and you can also attend the webinars that are conducted by the communities of interest. You're also able to get the online version of the Military Engineer magazine. And again, it's another source of technical information, things that are going on right now in the engineering community. And they cover a wide variety of topics. I just gave you a few examples there on the slide. They also have a STEM corner. So you can, again, if you have an interest in encouraging younger students, you can learn more about what's going on at other posts and how to do it better. Some of the key contacts, if you've got additional questions, things that you would like to learn more about. Ann McMillan is the chair of the College Outreach Community of Interest, and Andra, who you've been meeting with during this webinar, is the Virtual Student Chapter Chair. And I am the College Outreach Community of Interest Staff Liaison. So we'd like to thank you. If people do want to spend a moment, I know that some people have just come on. If you have any final questions, we are going a little long. Thank you, Jeff, for remaining on, and for a great webinar there. If anybody has any questions. I think we do have some questions still in the chat that are really for Jeff, but Jeff had said that he would answer some of these things with, we can send them to him in an email, and I can post them on the website when I post the recording. Andra, do you have anything that you would like to say?
No, just looking at over those questions, some of them are fairly involved. So if you can take a look at them and provide some more insight, I think it would be great. And it also gives an opportunity to highlight some more things that you and Michael Baker actually offer. So
yeah, absolutely.
that would be outstanding. So
be my pleasure. So
Other than that, again, just unless Eddie or Janine have anything else, just my thanks again for a wonderful presentation. Definitely of value, and we'll get it sent out to everybody as well so people can take a look at it if they weren't able to join us tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Yeah.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.